Hello everyone, welcome to another tutorial for Microsoft Dynamics CRM 2015. Today I'm going to show you how to prepare and run a silent install of Dynamics CRM using the command prompt and an XML file. This procedure can be very useful if you want to automate installations or prepare some kind of template for installations of development or test environments. And of course you can also use this to install production environments very quickly. You can download the XML file that I'm going to use from the link in the description of the video and edit it for your own personal use. We are going to start with an explanation of the XML file, of the content of the XML file. I have it right here, so we're going to edit it and go through its content. So this is how it looks, and these are all the things you need to know. This thing here is basically the license key you will be using. I'm using a trial key. If you have a valid license key that you purchased, you can enter it here and it will be used for the installation. SQL Server is the SQL Server that you will be using. You need to provide the server name right here. Create database. You want to leave it at true. You want to change it to false if you're using to connect to an already existing configuration file, the MSCRM config, but we're doing a clean installation here, so you're going to leave it at true. Reporting URL. This is the reporting services URL. If you want to make sure that it's working, you can access it before you start the installation so you don't have any errors. We're going to leave it here for a couple of seconds just to make sure. Organization collation. This is basically the collation that SQL will use to search records. You don't want to change it. You don't need to change it. You can leave it default. Base currency. This is the currency of the CRM. Okay, you can see this is good. I have an old installation here, but you can ignore it. So this is the currency. Organization. This is the organization name that will be created. Unique name is the organization unique name. Usually you want to have the same name here. Website URL. So this is a website URL port. So this is basically the port that you will use for the installation. I already have other things here on port 80, so I'm using the default port 555. This is the default port for CRM. You can change it to whatever you want. Just make sure that you're not overriding something else that you have already installed on the server. Okay, so these are the groups. You don't need this, but if you want to create the OU security groups in advance, for example, if you don't want to have the nasty long GUID that is attached to the security groups in the installation of CRM, then you can pre-create it. We're going to do it here. Before we start the installation, I'm going to manually create those groups in the OU. This will be after I'll explain the XML file. So let's continue. This is the installed here. Not much to explain here. This is just the folder that CRM will install into. You can change it if you want to. I never do. And all this here are the service accounts. Now I explained a little bit about the service accounts in my previous tutorial for the installation of Dynamics CRM. Here in this demonstration I'm using the same service account for each service. Best practice is to use a different service account for each service with different privileges, but this is test environment, so I'm using the same one. One thing that you have to understand is that you do have to write the password here, so it's a little dangerous to save this file in an exposed place. You should delete it or save it somewhere that you know only you have access to. So basically domain name and the username that you want to provide to your installation, and the password. We have the CRM service account here, the sandbox service account, deployment service account, the async service account, VSS writer service account, and the monitor service account. Okay, so you have to fill everything in. You can also use network services if you want to. But like I said, it's recommended to use a domain account. The SQM option basically it says if you will participate in the customer experience improvement program. So I'm leaving it at false. If you want to help out Microsoft, then you can switch it to true. MU opt-in, if you leave it at true, then Windows will automatically download updates from Microsoft Dynamics CRM. I would actually advise you to switch it to false, because I like to be in control when my roll-ups or updates are downloaded. So I'm going to switch it to false. This whole section here, it's the IFD settings, internet facing deployment settings. So we are not going into it. So you can just leave it as it is. It is being ignored. The email is basically your email router server. What you need to do is write here the server name of the server you're planning to install email router on. That's it. This is the whole XML file. Now I'm going to show you. No, wait. There's one thing that we need to do. We need to create the security groups. So we're going to go to our Active Directory server, and I'm just going to copy paste those names. You can choose whatever name you want. I would highly recommend you to leave the default names because you'll know what each group means and not just some random naming. So we're going to go to our Active Directory server. And we're going to create the security groups. So, okay. Group. Okay, so we created the groups. You need to remember that the user that you are using to install CRM needs to have permissions over the OU. I explained it in my previous tutorial about the installation, so if you missed it, you can watch it. Okay, so we're done with the XML file. Now we're going to run the installation itself. So I have the syntax for the installation right here. As you can see, it is very simple. What you need to do is write the setup server.exe, qr, config, and the path of the XML file. So I have my setup right here. We're going to open the command prompt, run as administrator, and we're going to navigate to the installation folder. Then we're going to run this command. When my XML file, as you can see, is located and at the root. Now what this means here, the QR, is that you're going to see all the installation progress. Okay, if you use only Q, then you'll have the silent install and you will not be able to see any progress. This is not such a good idea, because if you have errors or warnings or whatever, you won't be able to see it. Just you have to check the log when it fails, if it fails. Now if you use the QR command, then you will see all the installation progress on screen. So we're going to press enter and wait. You can open the task manager to see that it indeed started. You can see the setup server.exe here, and you just need to wait a couple of minutes. Okay, so as you can see, the installation started. You can close this, and now we just have to wait. So we're going to get back to the installation when it's done. Alright, so the installation completed successfully. If you want, you can view the log file. And now we're gonna click finish. Okay, so as you can see, if we'll go to our domain controller, you can see that our security groups have been populated. Yep. Also, if we go to the SQL server, you can see that the databases have been created. Here you go. And on the CRM server. We can start the deployment manager. And we have CRM up and running. Okay. So this is pretty much it. If you want to use this XML file in your environment, you can edit it. Like I said, you can download it in the description link. What I did not mention here is that you can also edit it to install specific roles, the backend server, the frontend server, the deployment administration. You can choose whatever you want to install. You will have to play around with it a little bit to change it. You can see the Microsoft documentation and the explanation of the XML file, so you can change it by yourself. If you have any questions, as always, you can write them down in the comment section. I will do my best to help you out. I hope this was helpful, and as always, thank you for watching.